So thank you very much for watching or listening. Today I have a very exciting interview for fight fans around the world pretty much. Today we'll be talking with well-known, well-respected bare knuckle fighter Zach Calmus, who also had a great gloves career as well, both amateur and pro. There is BKFC, where he currently competes. And as I mentioned, had a great gloves career as well, amateur and pro. 2017 Open Class Golden Gloves champion as well. So we have a lot to talk about today. His fight with Bobo O'Bannon was fight of the night at BKFC 17 as well. Absolute War, which has had, I think, millions of hits on YouTube as well. So we've got a lot of great things to talk about today. Zach's also a trainer for BKFC as well. So we're going to be getting into his life, his career today, his great accomplishments so far, but also everything that's yet to come, because there's some big fights out there for him as well. So, champ, I just want to say, obviously, once again, big thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, I genuinely appreciate your time, Liam. I thank you so much.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. And yeah, show us that tattoo one more time, because that is, you know, the big KFC, because that is something very cool. If you show us that one more time. Yeah, there it is. I love it. I love it. Brilliant. So let's get into it. I mean, I'm going to start at the moment with, you know, how things are for you right now in 2021 as well. Obviously, at the time of this interview, it's December, it's the holiday season. I know people will watch this at all different times, but how are things going for you right now, you know, with your training, with your coaching? Can you just walk us through a little bit about what life is like for you day to day right now at the moment, please, champ?
So I start my day at 4 a.m. I wake up. I jog about 3 miles, rain, cold, snow. It really doesn't matter. The island that I live on in Gloucester, it's all hills. So it's a lot of good terrain to run through. You know, you can get a good 3-4 mile run, and it's, you know, going up and down hills the whole time. It's not just flat. I mean, there are some flat areas, but I mean, for the most part, it's very, very hilly. So you're getting that incline, you're getting the decline, you're really riding the terrain. So your body's just, you know, staying clear of, you're clearing out every day. You're starting your day drenched in sweat, solid stretch, good breakfast, water, hydration, shower. And then after that, I make my way to the city of Lynn 3 days a week to spar. So I spar on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then on Tuesday and Thursday nights, I also go to Lynn, and that's when I do most of my focus work, conditioning, boxing style conditioning, you know, heavy bag work, speed bag work, double end bag, moving, slipping that, and as well as jump rope, you know, pad work, not sparring on Thursdays, but Tuesdays and Thursdays are mainly conditioning and just focus mitts. And I'll do about 34 rounds of boxing conditioning between, like, you know, jump rope, double end bag, heavy bag, speed bag. I mean, it's a lot of different types of bags. So when you start hitting them all, you could easily be there for 2.5 hours if you're putting 3 to 5 rounds in of every single type of exercise. You know, that's very time. It's going to take time. So I do that, and I leave about, practice opens on Tuesday and Thursday at 4 in the afternoon. So I leave out about around 8, and then I drive home. So from Monday to Friday, I will have sparred 3 times. I will have conditioned at the boxing gym twice, and mixed in with that, there's an industrial YMCA, the youth men's Christian academy. Basically, it's a workout facility. You know, it's a great gym. It's a public gym. They got a great pool, a sauna, state of the art machines. So I go there on the weekends. I might spend anywhere 3 to 6 hours there, but, you know, on Saturday and Sunday combined. You know, 3 hours, 3 hours. So on any given week, I'm putting in a lot of work, putting in a lot of focused work. And that's mixed in with my day job. I move furniture. So yeah. I'm doing it all. You know, I sleep 6 hours a night, and then it's just bang.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that is dedication. That is hard work and dedication right there. But, you know, that is what it takes to get to the top. And you obviously love it. I mean, that shows a great deal. So in terms of the training, as soon as we've started with this side of it, what is your favorite aspect of your training? I mean, is it the sparring, favorite aspect of running?
Yeah,
Sparring,
I'm,
yeah?
I'm not. All right, so a lot of guys go to the gym to lift weights. A lot of guys are going, they're going for a physique or whatever they're going for. Maybe they're building strength. I understand that. That's what I genuinely do. When I'm in the weight room, I'm working sets. I'm not lifting as heavy as I could. Can easily bench over 300 pounds. I'm not going to go in there and start pushing 300 pounds around, pull a muscle. I might put 225 on there and throw it up 15 times and get my reps up. When I do back exercises, I'll do 30 reps on a light weight. I'm not going and I'm not going to do that. I need to for fighting. So more or less, I'm not trying to be the best at working out.
Yeah.
I'm not a fit athlete. I don't do yoga. I'm not trying to be the best at working out. I'm trying to be good at one thing, and that's knocking people out. I'm trying to knock people on the canvas. That's the name of the game. That's what you're supposed to do. So me going in there doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to be a good fighter. Not I'm not trying to be the best biker. I ain't trying to be the best swimmer. I'm not. I do all those things. I bike, I swim, I do all that, but I'm not trying to be Michael Phelps. I'm not going in there and trying to master the arts of other sports. The only thing I'm focused on is getting my hands right. So if it means that I got to do some swimming or I got to do some other stuff, so be it. And I'm willing to put in the work 100%. Like I said, I spent my whole morning at the gym morning, the YMCA, but mainly my thing that's made me better and made my skin tougher is sparring. I'm getting hit in the face. I'm hitting people in the face. And that's happening 3 days a week at different gyms, different opponents. Inner city Boston, outside of Boston, basically all around New England. We're fighting with every single gym. And that's beautiful, to have different, maybe 15, 20 guys I can work with now.
Incredible. So really, really good insight into your training regime. And obviously, this is some of the stuff that the fans, they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. Often they see the fight itself and that's it. So it's really good to get into it, what goes on behind the scenes. Now, I want to take a little look back in time a little bit here now as well, before we get into the bare knuckle side of things, to your obviously gloved boxing career as well, where you had some incredible achievements, as I mentioned earlier, 2017 Open Class Golden Gloves, which you were showing me the trophy just now. We'll probably do that again. But let's talk a little bit about your amateur career. Was that where it started for you with amateur boxing? Were you initially involved in glove boxing? For anyone out there that doesn't know the story about this, because I try and pick questions with people that know about you, and maybe other people, it's their first time, seeing who you are and sort of an introduction. So can you walk us through, some of your achievements with the glove boxing and anything you'd like to share with the fans about that, please, champ? That'd be fantastic.
So take it back to way before glove boxing.
Okay.
It was, so I was getting in a lot of fights. I was getting in a lot of fights, like all the time, and I was in environment didn't really look good upon fighting. It was from a young age. I was always coming home with teeth coming out, or a black eye, or busted nose, busted whatever it is. I'm always getting into a scrap, and I found boxing, glove boxing, to initially try and stay out of trouble. You know what I mean? Try
Yeah.
and stop getting into fights in my youth. And when the glove boxing, really what happened was I just became a better fighter. With the training and stuff like that. Now, I had a tough road as an amateur. I literally, I wouldn't be boxing anymore unless I absolutely dedicated everything to it and loved it. Because in my youth, I had a wicked attitude problem. I had the worst. I mean, there's shades of it still left. There's times I get extremely frustrated. But here's what I'm not trying to dwell on that. What I'm getting at is that I had a serious attitude problem when I was a kid, and I had no release for it. I didn't know what to do. And I mean a kid, youth, 16, 17, 18, just looking in the mirror, and then you know that you're not shit. You're not worth shit. You feel like a piece of shit, and people treat you accordingly. And when you're a little shit, you get treated like a little shit. So I had to grow from that. And instead of like listening to the good people around me, like my mother or, coaches or teachers, I didn't listen to them at all. I listened to Zach. And what that got me was trouble. I got kicked out of 2 high schools. They asked me to leave. I ended up graduating high school '09. But my point was I was a troubled youth. Then after that, different problems with the law, a couple different cases. I got different fights. Once I put that behind me, only when I put that behind me was I able to like lift that veil, lift that curtain, and start listening to the good people around me. And slowly but surely, I got out of in trouble. I stopped hanging out with the same people, and I started moving towards positive things in my life. Like I got off probation. I was on probation maybe 5, 6 years. And I finally shut the door on that. And I told them I'm never going to be back here. That was the truth. So now I won't even really jaywalk. I don't do anything wrong because I have too much to lose. So I'm just like focused on the good, but coming from that place of like so many doors being shut in my face for my actions or not. And a lot of it had nothing to do with me. Sometimes things would happen, whatever happened, you end up on the B side. But my point is that I went through 7 boxing gyms after going through 4 or 5 schools. So it's like when you go through so many experiences, these were boarding schools. I was at a 7-day boarding school, so I lived all over the country. But my point being is like when you do that and then you come home and you start getting comfortable with a group of people and you're kicked to the street again, and you get with a new group of people and you get kicked to the street again, and then you get with a new group of people and they don't accept you, and then you get kicked to the street again. It develops a certain type of hardness to your skin and heart. Like it's very hard to bother me. And then at the same time, a lot of these gyms aren't even around anymore. So I know a lot of it had nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? I went through 7 and extreme amount of trouble in my amateurs. I lost my boxing license twice, just to get nationally ranked 12th in the whole country in 2018. I got nationally ranked. I was really shooting for the Olympics. I didn't make it. Teammates of mine got ranked 10th. It was really an eye-opening experience to fight with some of the best fighters in the world at the Nationals. So that was my amateur experience. It turned me from a boy to a man. I stopped with the street life. I stopped going to the bar. I don't go to bar. If I want to have a drink, I might have a short beer at home. That's it. You know why? Because nothing good happens after dark. You know what I mean? That's what my mom told me, and she was right. So I just stay inside and I watch TV, and that's hard to do sometimes. But it's necessary.
That is incredible. I mean, the inspiration behind that story as well, because it really shows people over there in the States, over here in the UK, anywhere, how it's possible to turn that around, physically, but also internally as well, and have that sort of
Nobody wanted me to fight. Nobody wanted me to fight as a kid. Like I just put that out there too. My mother was against it, and now she's like my biggest fan in bare knuckle. But what I say is my mother was against the glove boxing, and my uncle and like a lot of people in my group were coming around like, Zach, do you really want to be in that ring fighting? And it was a big major fighting in my life. I had to fight just to get in the ring to get my dad to sign the waiver. When I was 17, I had to yell at them and scream and break things just so they'd be like, oh, he really wants to do this. And then I got knocked off my first 5 fights. I not knocked out, but I lost my first 6 amateur fights. And like, you still want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I still want to do this. How many years later, I'm still in the game, and I'm fighting at the top level. So definitely got to stick with it. Don't give up. Don't give up.
It's a powerful message. It's very, very powerful. And that's obviously a big part of why I love doing these interviews anyway. And a big thing about your story is that inspirational quality that shows other people if you can turn it around, they can turn it around as well. Like I say, with the change of mindset, with the change of attitude, change of habits, so many things that you sort of went into there, they're big. Now, I know before we were talking about your trophies, and you were showing me some of your trophies. Now, before we started recording, let's do that again for all the fans out there. You can walk us through, because you've got some incredible memories there. You've got some incredible achievements. So one more time on that one, champ, with the some of the trophies and the gloves and the different things I saw. Can you Can you walk us through those again so the fans can see everything you've got going on over there?
Yeah, this is my Golden Gloves, 2017, when I won the Golden Gloves right here. And you can see that. It's really beautiful. It was my dad's birthday. I fought a guy with 85 fights, so that was a heck of a fight. And that was at Lowell Memorial Auditorium. It was my 10th fight, and I won the championship. And then this is my blown up for me. This was Bobo Bannon, Zach Calmus, fight of the night in Alabama. And these are all the local articles. This is from my pro debut. You can see that. That's the daily item. That's my pro debut in boxing up in New Hampshire at Granite Chin Promotions in New Hampshire. I want to shout out Scotty Bombs Lambert. He's a fighter that I've been cornering. I met at the New York tryouts, and he'll be next on the bare knuckle circuit to make a big name. But this is just the articles over the years. You know, this is a magazine from my town when I tried out for the bare knuckle. So yeah, it's really been quite a journey. But I got these too. Like I got 100. These are my national passes. These are all the fights I've been in. It's not just about the trophies. Like these are just fights I was in the USA boxing system. So that's kind of where I learned how to fight. Obviously, just I learned how to throw a proper jab, cross, left hook, right hook, uppercut, rear uppercut. If you don't know those 6 punches, you're in trouble. I mean, obviously, there's other stuff you can learn after, like going to the body is a whole nother art. Because you have to think about it. You have to jab, cross, upstairs to change levels. A lot of fighters don't know how to change levels. I notice guys just shooting for the head or not throwing any body shots, but those body shots are so useful,
Yeah, absolutely. Again, brilliant insight into your accomplishments there, and there's a lot of them, a lot to be proud of. Definitely, the pride of your hometown as well. So it's definitely a brilliant insight to the fans there. Now, I know that people watching this and listening to this, they'll be sort of really itching to get to the bare knuckle side of things as well, because obviously, if you look at how bare knuckles growing as a sport around the world, and what BKFC is doing, and everything like that, and Dave Feldman, and just what everything that's going on. So let's get into that. I mean, initially, what was it that gave you the idea to sort of switch from what you've been doing with the glove boxing, all your achievements there, to fighting bare knuckle, bone against bone? What initially inspired you to do that? To make that switch into bare knuckle?
I'm just trying to make sure this phone is charged so it doesn't die on us while I'm talking.
All right. No worries, champ.
Okay, it's plugged in. So yeah, to make the switch, it wasn't really a decision. I always wanted to fight. Can you see me good? I always wanted to fight bare knuckle. I never even wanted to wear gloves in the first place. So, only being legal in the United States for about 3 years now, coming at the end of this month, it's a sport that I've always envisioned being there. You know what I mean? I obviously, love boxing, and I always will, and I always will probably compete and box. But at the same time, bare knuckle is where my focus is entirely right now, to the point where I'm hitting the bag with no gloves, and I'm putting them in ice every day and sand, and I'm doing a whole conditioning treatment with my hands. So my hands aren't even the same anymore, and they don't even hit the same.
Incredible. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's a good insight into the training as well, because lately when I've been doing bare knuckle interviews, I've seen sort of a transition of a number of guys training, without the gloves on. And in the beginning, it was always they would train gloved and then they'd fight without. But now I've seen a lot of this stuff, and that's really interesting as well for the fans. And it's hands of stone right there.
And also, like sparring with smaller gloves too. It's important to take the headgear off and feel it. It's important to feel it so you condition the eye muscles, the motor muscles, the nose, the mouth, all those parts of the body. They can be conditioned. Like Muay Thai. If you hit your leg with a bamboo stick and then you roll it out, you hit it again, you roll it out. Those guys have they have weapons for legs. So if you think about it like that, anything could be a weapon.
Yeah.
When conditioned properly.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it as well. Now, obviously, your fight with Bobo is legendary. I mean, obviously, the amount of views it's had on YouTube, the fight of the night side of things, and that was just, I remember the amount of hype on the build up to the fight, but after the fight as well has been massive. I think it's been one of the most popular fights with BKFC itself. So, in terms of this, now I'd like to just talk about different aspects of that fight in terms of the build up to it, and how you felt like on the build up to it. Obviously, your ring walk was pretty cool. I mean, that was very cool. The shirt coming off and all that, and obviously what you remember about the fight. Now, I don't really have like a really narrow question about it, like a really, because you were obviously the one that had the fight, they're your memories, and that's what the fans want to hear. So, just anything that you'd like to share with the fans, in terms of how you felt on the build up, how the actual fight went down, Bobo's skills, just anything you'd like to share with us about it of any aspect really, champ, would be fantastic to hear about.
All I can say is really, and I don't want to share too much. I signed to Mukau. All I say is I respect him so much. Before and after the fight, I don't go into any fight with that animosity of hating my opponent, because that really takes away from your energy levels. And you're going to drain energy. At least me as a person, I don't do that. I don't ever disrespect another fighter. If you're man enough to toe the line, then you have my respect. As far as that goes, so the respect before and after, that's who I am as a person. So when I fought Bo, he hits like a brick shit house. Let me tell you, he hits hard. He hits fucking hard, man. Oh my God. When he hit my tooth, it went right down, basically like hanging out, like went down my throat, and it cut a piece of my lip, and I was choking on a piece of my lip. So like the fourth time I went down, the only reason I spit like that is because there was a piece of my lip in my throat. You know what I mean? So like, I've been in some fights. I've been in a lot of fights. Everybody wanted to fight me. Pretty much my whole life. A lot of guys still do. Even, in the streets, it's crazy. A lot of guys would rather say, oh yeah, I got laced up by Zach Calmus, and say, I ran away from Zach Calmus. A lot of guys claim they want to fight me until I'm on top of them, pounding their fucking head in. And they're like, stop. I love you. I've heard it all. This is the past. Now, if I got in a fight, I got to run away because I got just so much to lose. Like, I will run away. So it's like nobody's getting a fight with me unless it's in the BKFC, and that's where I'm at. And I stand firm by that. These hands are professional. So that's where we're at. But yeah, I've smashed. I've definitely like been in some fights. I've smashed some dudes before, and I'm not gonna say I'm not proud of that, because I am proud of that. They were little shitters. They deserved it. If I beat your ass in the past, I guarantee you remember me. You know what I mean? All y'all watching, I guarantee you remember me. And also, y'all know where I live too. So if you see me going to practice this afternoon, just tell me you want to do something. Come on to the gym. I say, come on with that. I'm not like, I've never denied nobody a fight, but at the same time, there's a time and a place for it. So it's like, I can't even tell you, I could count on two hands how many guys are calling me out online. How many guys am I going to fight out of those 10, 20 people calling me out online? You know why? Because they're all assholes. There's no point in calling me out, because my road's already set. I already pretty much know who I'm fighting, and he's a great guy, and he's a respectable guy. And I'm just honored and blessed to be in the ring with him. And, it's a fair fight. It's a reasonable fight. We both have losses to two of the same guys. So it's like these guys call me out. It's like, okay, but they're like, this is the fight that makes sense, or that's the fight that makes sense. No, the fight that makes sense is the fight that I want to do, and that my opponent wants to do. Why do you want to see two guys fight where one of them feels one way and one of them feels another? We want to see two guys fight who are going to beat the shit out of each other. I think that's what everybody wants. They don't want to see these flakes, these Fruit Loops coming in here and getting busted up, going down. Oh, then they, oh my God. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, bro, if that was me, I'd be up, because if I can get up, I'm getting up. So many guys are quitting after. Oh my God! Come on,
Yeah.
wrong industry to quit. I didn't quit. My coach was concerned for my eyes. My coach was concerned for my health, and the doctor was very concerned with my eyes and my health. So the doctor, it was a corner stoppage. The doctor and the corner, they stopped the fight. I could have died in there. So that's how I feel about that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great fight. It changed my life monumentally. You see all the good things that I've been doing, traveling and cornering Devin Gibson there in New York, who's a heck of a fighter, and he's going to have a very bright future. Traveling, meeting Joey Beltran, meeting Arnold Adams, heavyweight champ, meeting Josh Burns, um, meeting these people, Hero Henry. I knew Chris Sorrow. Chris Sorrow I consider like my older brother. He really helped me get into this game. So like this fight sports, this style of fighting. So what I'm really getting at is that I've lived my dreams. I've accomplished everything I wanted and more. And I couldn't be more grateful, to be honest with you, Mr. Hartley. I couldn't be more grateful.
That's a really good point there. There's something else that I was going to get into, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because one of the things that always strikes me, like when I see you post on Instagram, on Facebook, and wherever, and I see this stuff coming through, is you always have that sort of happy energy, that sort of happy vibe, and you can tell that it's sincere, though. You can tell that it's like a real, from the heart thing and whatever. And you're a very positive individual, if that makes sense, in your posts and everything you put out there. And obviously, this is the first time we've met like this, but it comes over now. And I think that's even more amazing considering, everything that you went through as a youth and sort of transforming your mindset and your habits and all this sort of stuff. So with that in mind, does that mostly come down to gratitude? Because I think this is a great lesson for people in life, whether they're in the fight game or not. And this is not your average sort of fight question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because is that like your, positivity and everything? Does that mostly come down to gratitude? Does that mostly come down to what you just said just now, where you've lived your dreams and you've accomplished so many things? Or walk us through that a bit. I know this is an out of the box question, but I'd love to
I
hear more.
I made it out of a struggle. I made it out of a serious struggle, both mentally and physically. Growing up, I was fat, curly haired, out of shape. I have ADD. I have OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. I don't know if you know what that is, but sometimes I have to lock my front door 30 or 40 times just to leave the house. I
Yeah.
constantly am worried that I left the stove on. So being that person, being a person with obsessive compulsive disorder, it's exhausting. It's an extremely debilitating disease of the mind. And I've had that my whole entire life, and I take zero medication for it. I don't take anything for it. Had negative side effects when I was a kid to any type of medication that my parents tried to put me on. And I had to be strong. I had a tick in my eye. I was blinking all the time. And then I was also shutting doors 2, 3, 4 times, multiples of 2. Everything I do has to be in multiples of 2. And that's something that nobody understands about me. Everything I buy 2 of them. Everything I do it twice. Everything I think, I have to think it twice. So that's an extremely exhausting, disability to have. This is a story of a kid who nobody thought was ever going to be shit. And look, and including me at times, including myself at times. I lost faith in myself at times. And only when I looked myself in the mirror and fucking decided who I wanted to be was I listened to people like Joe Rogan and these podcasts that were like motivational to me. And I was like, wow, I have to be my own superhero. I have to be the hero of my own story. So like, no matter what the fuck happened, I knew that I was going to succeed or die. That was the only 2 things. I was going to make it in something where everybody could be like, damn, that's that crazy kid, Zach, he made it. Or I was going to die trying. It was one or the other, and fighting was that thing that I was going to make it in. So, starting with pro boxing and then, going to the bare knuckle, that's a body of work. I was an amateur boxer for like 13 years, not getting paid. So, working as a moving furniture, I've worked for 8 different moving companies.
Incredible. It's incredible how you turned it around, man. I mean, it's so inspirational, and it's the inner journey as well. You know, it's not just the things on the outside, but it's like I keep saying, the change of mindset, the change of
But
heart.
that being said, though, that being said, yeah, I've turned it around and I'm a different person. I'm evolved. I'm not afraid to turn it on either. I
Yeah,
live life on my terms. I always live life on my terms. And that's what pisses people the fuck off. Because I don't give a fuck what he, she, see. I don't care what you say to me. I care about what I say.
yeah,
I've never given a fuck about what anybody has to say. I've always cared about what I have to say. And when they're like, oh, Zach, oh man, he went crazy tonight. He must be miserable. He must hate himself. Can I be 100% honest with you, Liam? I'm obsessed with myself. I love myself. My happiness is real happiness because it comes from within. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I'm not. I, all right. I'm 100% real. Like I know what I do every day. I help kids. I help older people. I hold the door for people. Sometimes I walk in the supermarket. I'm like, whoa, you just made 10 people's day better. You like help this old woman with this, and you like carry their groceries, and you like stop some cars for some kids, and then you like went and you like let a person take your parking space. Then you like, oh, you let 3 cars go and you stopped an accident. Then you're pulling in your driveway and you see your old neighbor carrying groceries up icy stairs. You pull over the car and you run and do that. And after you live life doing that good stuff, it becomes so natural. So then you're like, damn, I just did 10 or 30 good things today and I didn't even really realize I was doing it. And the person that I used to be never would have done these things. So yeah, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to say fuck all. You know what I mean? I know when to say when. Just like when someone disrespects you so much, like, you can only take so much before you're like, all right, now here's what's gonna happen. And that's it.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's good though. I mean, boundaries and everything like that, but also what you
Yeah,
say about like, looking at yourself in the mirror, and that's the judgment that matters. I mean, that's the only judgment that really matters at the end of the day is, that sort of integrity, that sort of, view inside yourself where you know whether you've done right or wrong, whether you tried your best, whether you haven't, or because I mean, I think people feel that, but whether they're true to it is another matter, But when people, in those quiet moments, when you wake up in the morning before you go to sleep, or when you're walking somewhere, or you're on a commute, or whatever you're doing, and you've got time to think, like in those moments where you're not distracted, if you've done the right thing, the wrong thing, this, that, and the other, and
absolutely.
it's from like a sincere, point of view or whatever. So I've definitely got a lot of respect for that. And again, it's a powerful message for people out there because so many people are guided by other people's expectations and other people's beliefs and sort of pressure from different
It's
groups of people.
garbage. They got to live their own lives because they're only given one life. And I'll tell you right now, they'll be sitting there regretting it when they're old and they're gray and the time has passed, and they'll be sitting there regretting it that they wasted it doing that, worrying about this and worrying about that, and all this crap, shit that doesn't even matter, crap, literal crap, like the emoji, like you're taking all this crap and you're like letting it fucking bring you down. Like there's people who are brought down, there's people who know where they're going, and I'm not one of those people that's lost. I know exactly where I'm going, and I wake up every day knowing exactly who I am. So that's the more important thing is I don't know what it is. People have like gone soft. You know what I mean? I was in the steam room the other day, 5 or 6 guys in there, whatever. We're taking a steam, so I'm in there. These jerks. This kid starts talking about some girl that he moved to Gloucester from like he moved here for her from like another part of the country. Okay. So I'm like, all right. So some kid's like, oh, and then she ditched him. And then I was like, oh, I'm listening. Kid's like, I feel real bad for you. I feel real bad for you, man. And I'm like, well, I don't. He never met the girl. He had an online relationship, decided to uproot his life and move. That's his own problem. That's kind of stupid if you ask me. So I'm sitting there. I said, hey, my man, if you don't mind me asking, what's her name? Come to find out, I know the girl. I know the girl. I told him, brother, you dodged a bullet. Okay. And I was just trying to shed some light on a kind of a crummy, awkward situation. Actually knew the girl. So I said, you dodged a bullet. She's kind of a nutbag, whatever. I knew her since high school. And he's like, He's like, oh, can we just not talk about it? He got all offended. He got really offended about it. Really bad. Like, he like left the steam room, like, okay, don't be mad at me for telling you the truth. People don't want to hear the truth. And then the other guys who were in the steam room, they were like, oh, like I could tell by their energy, they were offended too. So you're offended by me telling you that you dodged a bullet with a girl who you never even met. It's like people are getting offended by things they have built up in their mind to a point where they're literally going to go and make actions in the real world based off of those crazy feelings. You know, it's a false narrative. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that again, and I know I've said this before, but that's a powerful lesson again, because obviously people don't realize, so much we build up in our minds and things like that, it doesn't actually happen. And
It's
there's so
not
much,
real.
yeah. And I mean, we could go into that and, it could be a whole conversation of its own. But I think it's amazing wisdom, absolutely,
I'm deep. I'm a deep person. I spend like a lot of time just sitting in my room thinking. And people don't think I'm very smart because maybe I'll miss some teeth or I'm a bare knuckle boxer. But listen, I read books. I'm like, read books and I'm smart. And I graduated high school and I'm not an uneducated person at all. At all.
No. But that,
I know about life.
yeah, you should never like judge a book by its cover. I mean, I could sort of tell from your energy and from like the way it's hard to explain, but just from that sort of feeling that you get from people, there's a lot going on, and that's part of the reason I want to do this interview anyway, because I could tell there's more. I try and pick people where even if it's in the fight game and they're good at that, there's more. Other things, inspirational things, and other parts of their life. Like you coach people and give back and all sorts of cool stuff. And so many things. Talking about that though, with obviously with the fights as well, I think another thing the fans would want to hear about with that, as well as one of the last things really, is obviously the future as well, because you mentioned about knowing who you're going to fight, and I don't know how much you can say about it or whatever at this stage, but just in terms of sharing, what's next for you in BKFC, and you've accomplished so much, but there's some big fights out there now, I think as well. So how much can you say about what's coming up next, and when you're going to fight again, and just anything in that aspect? How much can you say about that?
Right now, I'm going to fight in March.
Okay. Yeah.
We're looking for a fight in March. That's really all I can say.
Yeah.
I have a name. I have a name and I have a location, and I have a date. So I have all three. Those are all three right there. So that puts kind of a staple on the urgency of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know obviously with these things with contracts and the way it goes, and people got to be cagey about it, and that's cool. But it just gives people an idea, because even if that date changes or whatever, I know there's a lot of people who are looking forward to obviously seeing you back in there. And it's the same thing, it's not just the fights and being a tough individual, but it's everything you represent sort of outside of the ring, and everything like that as an individual, and these ideas that you're sharing and things like that. Obviously, small big fights, and it continues to get that exposure out there, and I think that's great, because the world needs more people in sort of high profile situations like yourself, who are sort of sharing real messages, and it's not just all about the money and all about very sort of.
It's not about the money at all. That's the biggest problem with everyone.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, like, there's people living in third world fucking countries. There's people. I have a friend living in a third world country right now, and he asked me for a few dollars, and I sent it to him. And I looked up what that transferred to in his country that he's in, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but it was like $1,000 what I sent him. I sent him only 25 US dollars. It was like $1,000. So now he can get milk for his baby. He can take care of his family. And he has to literally do crazy yard work for 3 days to make 18 bucks. And I grew up with this kid. Now he lives in the Philippines. And it's really tough over there. Really fucking tough. So if you think about that, how hard some people have it in the world. You got to think about, what's my struggle? Oh, I'm a little tired. I got to drive to the gym. I got a flat tire. These are first world struggles. So everybody's just a big fucking baby. They got to get over themselves. If you want to fight, then you fight. If it's about money, you shouldn't even be in the ring, because you should have a job. You should have a job to support. You should have a job to support your fight career. If you really want to give the fans what they work hard at their jobs to pay for a ticket, you're a scumbag if you just if you don't prepare yourself for the fight the way that they paid for, then you're cheating them. You know what I mean? So I think that's the most important part. That's why I have a job. It's not to put money in my pocket. It's to put skill in my body. Like, I'm taking that money and reinvesting it into any money I make with my moving job, I reinvest it into my fighting career, meaning like gym membership, supplements, whatever it is, food. Healthy food costs more than crappy food. I think I was set to make I was set to make good money on my last fight. Let me say, I'm not going to give a number because I don't do that. I don't want to talk money with the world, but it was extremely. It was a good amount that I was getting for the second fight, and I spent at least 2 or 3 thousand more on the camp in the 2 months. I probably spent 3,000 the first month, 3,000 the second. I was in really good shape for the fight. So I come in about where I was worried about making weight last time. I'm walking around now at like 250, 251. So I'll be at 235, 240 for my next fight. I'll be serious.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And another thing here with that as well, because I love this, because this is what I knew it would be, but it's sort of exceeding my expectations in that way, because obviously, we're getting into some deeper stuff, and I knew we would, but obviously there's so much of it sort of coming out. It's sort of exceeding, like I knew it would be good, but, but going back to the fans as well, because there's something else we mentioned there about not cheating them and all those different things. What would you say to your fans, obviously, because some of your fans, some people watching this, it'll be their first time that they've seen you, and it'll be like an introduction. But some people watching this will be like your loyal people. And I mean genuine fans now as well, not people who sort of blow with the wind and, they come and go, but like, solid, good people. Some of them are watching this now. I mean, because this is one of the last things anyway, is to give a shout out to them, because without them, the sport wouldn't be what it is. What would you say to those people that really love you, really support you, really stand by you? Obviously, hope to see you fight again soon, hopefully in March. Like, any words for them? What would you say to them?
First thing I would say was thank you for being my friends. And it's not even really just about being fans, because what is a fan? I'm a fan. You're a fan. Everyone's a fan. Any fighter who's on the roster is a fan of bare knuckle as well. So when you close that divide and you just see them as other people, I don't see them as fans. I just see them as other people like me. Because last year, this time, I was watching BKFC and trying to get in. So the fans are really just people, and they're just people who become friends. You know what I mean? So like, my fans become my friends. Like Robert Sweeney. He's been at like 8 or 10 events. He's a top fan, and I stayed in his hotel room down in Miami. He was like, "Oh yeah, brother, come stay in my room." That was amazing. You know what I mean? So we went out for dinner. We had a great time. Now we're like close friends. Yeah. So yeah, I want to say thank you, and I love you. I love you, fans, for helping me to accomplish my dreams by supporting me, and thank you for being my friends.
Incredible. Yeah, it's an amazing message to close out with. And again, that's a really good way of looking at it, fans as friends, and these people that you connect with, and it goes both ways. I've not heard
That's what friends do. They build you up. And so if the fans are building the fighters up, they're our friends. Yeah. Also the media, people like you. All right, so I always said this. I said this analogy in Tampa the first time to the media. We walked in the Harley dealership, and I said, I want to let you guys know that the media, guys like you, do the podcast, the guys who take the pictures, the guys who do the music. So the music, the cameras, and the interviewers like yourself. You guys, we're the music. You guys are the orchestrator, if you will. Yeah. If it's an orchestra, we're the sweet music. You're the maestro, if you will. You're without you, we don't exist either. Because without these podcasts, without these pictures, without all this media, these people who are so talented with the media, our image doesn't get to the wide group of friends and fans and people all over the world. Without you, we don't exist either. So all the podcasters, just know out there, I love you. I love the media. I consider you guys family. I'm one of those guys who's super media friendly. Anybody will tell you, I give anybody a podcast, beginner experience, 10 viewers or 100 million. I don't care what it is. I'd love to talk because I started as nothing. I was less than nothing. And now look, I got all these people telling me that I inspired them or I helped them get through a hard time or I did this and I did that. And I didn't really do anything. I just fought. What they did, I just did what I love. What they did was help me get through a hard time.
Yeah.
What they did was save my life. I'm still alive because of the fans. That's why I'm still here. Because I was going through so much before I fought Bobo. I was going through hell on earth, and that was my way of getting out of that. So I wouldn't be here without the fans. I really don't think I'd be alive. So, yeah.
Well, again, an incredible message and powerful message. And obviously, what you've gone through there, we're all glad that you got through it. And I think, from fans or friends, around the world, you've got a lot of support and a lot of love. And, when I look on social media or of any type, I don't really see anything else but love, sort of flowing in your direction. And I'm sure, obviously, there are haters and things out there. But what I mean is, I always see like the positive stuff with yourself and it's really good to see. And it's you earned it in that way. But Champ, I just want to say, with this talk so far, it's been an absolute pleasure because we've gone into like quite in depth with stuff, which I love. And even though obviously it's been like a good talk, it's been longer than I thought, but that's a good thing. I mean that in a good way because obviously we've gone in depth into so much stuff. And once again, I just want to say a big thank you for coming on, and a big thank you for making the time, and a big thank you for sharing so much of yourself with us because I know that's the sort of person that you are anyway. But everything that we've got into today, there's been so much honesty, so much sincerity, and you just sort of poured these emotions out, and it's a wonderful thing because you're sort of sharing so much of yourself with everyone watching and listening. So honestly, brother, big thank you on all counts. I appreciate you.
That's how we create real change in the world. Like these podcasts, like you said, it's such a big audience. All these people now can be impacted by the message of positivity. They can go out and they can impact another person in a good way. And that's really, really, really how the world's changed. Like, if you just start by just doing one nice thing for one person, and then that person goes and their energy carries and that energy carries. If you do 5 nice things for 5 random people, they're going to probably impact 5 other people the right way. Before you know it, 25 people are walking around having a better day because you started that chain. So it's not that hard to do, to be nice or to be mean. It's a lot easier to be nice. So I try to treat everybody nice until it's time not to, until I determine that this is a lost cause. And that always happens. That's okay. But most of the time it doesn't. This thing, even when someone starts out, you're like, oh, fuck this guy. He's fucking nuts. There's usually something underneath that. There's usually something that's causing that type of fucking pain.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I believe it ripples out positively or negatively. I mean, if you're positive with people, obviously they do it and it's like the ripple effect that goes out. But the same thing, people who, do people harm and all that sort of stuff, usually they're hurting themselves or usually it's been done to them. You don't see many people who wake up and just think, oh, I'm going to be like this. It's a long process, that they've gone through and it doesn't sort of condone it, but it also shows of how somebody's got there and that, there's different ways of dealing with it. So I agree completely with that. But honestly, we've got so much great content here, and I'm sort of over the moon with that. Really, really happy about that. So I just want to say, you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Earlier over there, and thank you again. It's been a pleasure, and I hope your training and everything like that goes amazing. Okay,
Liam, I really appreciate you guys over in the UK. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Champ.
I can't wait to get over there and fight. I can't wait to get out. See you guys fighting. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, man, we love it. Yeah, that'll be the day.
Sir.
Yeah, you keep up the and I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, take care now. Bye now,
Later.
Champ. Later. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.